9.18. The running gears of these two hulls had only 6 road wheels. Different types of auxiliary power units, APUs, were mounted in the prototypes. All turrets were equipped with a machine gun for air defense, except a turret mounted on PT-11, where a 20mm remotely operated autocannon was mounted. With the exception of hulls PT-07, PT-09, PT-15, and PT-17, all prototypes use it MB-873 engine. The road wheels were taken from the MBT-70 and the return rollers from the Leopard 1.18. The prototypes were designed with a projected weight of MLC-50, which equals approximately 47.5 tons, 46.7 long tons, 52.4 short tons. The welded turret utilized spaced armor formed by 2 steel plates. 20. The prototypes were equipped with an EMS-12 optical rangefinder and fire control system, which later was adopted on the Leopard 1A4. In mid-1973 a new turret was designed by Women, saving 1.5 tons, 1.7 short tons, in weight. 21. It was nicknamed the Spitzmore Shrew turret, due to the highly sloped front. This design was only possible with the new EMS-13 optical rangefinder, which required a base length of only 350 mm, 14 in. Instead of the previous 1720 mm, 68 in. 20. Based on experiences in the Yom Kippur War, a high level of protection than the prototype's heavily sloped spaced armor was demanded in late 1973, and Spitzmore's turn was never produced. 22. The weight limit was increased from MLC-50 to MLC-60, which equals approximately 55 tons, 54 long tons, 61 short tons. The T-14 turret was modified to test a new armor configuration, taking on a blockier-looking appearance as a result of using vertical modules of spaced multilayer armor. It was also used to test the new EMS-13 optical rangefinder. The modified T-14 turret was designated T-14 Mod. 22, and was fitted with a fully electric turret drive and stabilization system, which was developed jointly by General Electric and AEG Telefunken. American evaluation of Leopard 2 AV and XM-1 Abrams. In July 1973, German Federal Minister of Defense Georg Leber and his U.S. counterpart James R. Schlesinger agreed upon a higher degree of standardization in main battle tanks, being favorable to NATO. By integrating components already fully developed by German companies for the Leopard 2. The costs of XM-1 Abrams, U.S. prototype tank developed after the MBT-70, could be reduced. A German commission was sent to the U.S. to evaluate the harmonization of components between the XM-1 and Leopard 2. 23. However, under American law it was not possible for a public bidder to interfere in a procurement tender after a contract with intention of profits and deadline was awarded to private sector companies. 23. Leopard 2 prototype tested at the Yuma Proving Ground, September 1975. As a result, the modification of the Leopard 2 prototypes in order to meet the U.S. Army requirements was investigated. Following a number of further talks, a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, was signed on the 11th of December, 1974 between Germany and the U.S., which declared that a modified version of the Leopard 2 should be trialed by the U.S. against their XM-1 prototypes. 24. After the Americans had bought and investigated prototype PT-07 in 1973. 25. The MOU obliged the Federal Republic of Germany to send a complete prototype, a hull, a vehicle for ballistic tests and a number of special ballistic parts to the U.S., where they would be put through U.S. testing procedures for no additional costs. 26. The Leopard 2 AV, austere version, was based on the experiences of the previous Leopard 2 development. It was created in order to meet the US requirements and the latest protection requirements of German mod. The T-14 mod turret was used as the base for the Leopard 2 AVS turret, but meeting their required level of protection for the hull required several attempts until the final ballistic trials on 23 to 26 June 1976. 27, following the US preference of laser rangefinders. The turret of prototype PT-19 was fitted with a laser rangefinder developed together with the American company Hughes. 28. In comparison with the earlier Leopard 2 prototypes, the fire control system was simplified by replacing the EMES-12 optical rangefinder and removing the crosswind sensor, the air pressure and temperature sensors, the powder temperature sensor, the PR-12 commander sight with IR searchlight, the short-range grenade launcher for use against infantry, the retractable searchlight, the spotlight, the retractable passive night vision sight, the APU and the mechanical loading assistant. 26. Due to the design and production of the Leopard 2 AV taking more time than expected, the shipment to the US and the US evaluation was delayed. It was not possible to test the Leopard 2 AV before 1 September 1976. 27. Despite the German wish that the Leopard 2 AV and the XM1 prototypes would be evaluated at the same time, the US Army decided not to wait for the Leopard 2 AV and tested the XM1 prototypes from Chrysler and General Motors beforehand. 23. 29. 2 new prototype hulls and 3 turrets were shipped to the US. PT-20 mounting a 105mm rifled L7 gun and a Hughes fire control system. PT-19 with the same fire control system but able to swap out the gun for 120mm Rheinmetall smoothbore gun, and the PT-21 fitted with the Krupp Atlas electronic EMS-13 fire control system and the 120mm Rheinmetall gun. 25. The Leopard 2 AV fully met the use requirements. 30. A study made by the American FMC Corporation showed that it was possible to produce Leopard 2 AV under license in America without exceeding the cost limits set by the US Army. 30. Before the trials were finished, it was decided that instead of the US Army possibly adopting the Leopard 2 AV, the focus was shifted to the possibilities of common components between the two tanks. FMC, after having acquired the licenses for the production of the Leopard 2 AV, decided not to submit a technical proposal, as they saw little to no chance for the US Army adopting a vehicle not developed in the US. 29. The US Army evaluation showed that on the XM1 a larger portion of the tank's surface was covered by special armor, composite armor arrays, than on the Leopard 2 AV. 29. Differences in armor protection were attributed to the different perceptions of the expected threats and the haste in which the Leopard 2 AV was designed to accommodate special armor. 29. On mobility trials the Leopard 2 AV performed equal to better than the XM1 prototypes. The AGT 1500 turbine engine proved to consume about 50% more fuel. 31. And the dial tracks had a higher endurance, while the tracks used on the XM1 prototypes failed to meet the Army's requirements. 30. The heat signature of the MTU diesel engine was much lower. 31. The fire control system and the sights of the Leopard 2 were considered to be better and the 120mm gun proved to be superior. 29. The projected production costs for one XM1 tank were US $728,000 in 1976, and the costs for one Leopard 2 AV were US $56,000 higher. 29. After the American evaluation of the Leopard 2 AV and the US Army's decision to opt for the XM1 Abrams, both American and German sources blamed the other side. U.S. Army test officials discovered that PT-19 Leopard 2AV prototype used for mobility trials did not contain special armor. NB1. In Germany, the test conditions were criticized for being unrealistic and favoring the XM1. Instead of using actual performance data, the calculated hypothetical acceleration was used. 31. The XM1 was found to have a slightly higher rate of fire despite having internal layouts similar to the Leopard 2AV because the XM1 prototypes were manned by professional crews, while the Leopard 2AV had to be manned by conscripts in order to prove that the Leopard 2AV was not too complicated. 31. Firing on the move was demonstrated on flat tracks, which nullified the better stabilization systems of the Leopard 2AV. 31. Germany later withdrew its tank from consideration. 33. Series production. Leopard 2 tanks during a maneuver in 1986. The decision to put the Leopard 2 tank in production for the German Army was made after a study was undertaken, which showed that adopting the Leopard 2 model would result in a greater combat potential of the German Army than producing more Leopard 1A4 tanks or developing an improved version of the Leopard 1A4 with 105/120mm smoothbore gun, improved armor protection, a new fire control system and a 890 kilowatts, 1190 HP, or 1,100 kilowatts, 1500 HP. Engine. 34. Various changes were applied to the Leopard 2 design before the series production started in 1979. 35. 36. The engine, transmission, and suspension were slightly modified and improved. The ballistic protection of the turret and hull was improved and weak spots were eliminated. 37. The turret bustle containing the ready ammunition racks and the hydraulic system was separated from the crew compartment and fitted with blowout panels. The development of several new components was introduced to the Leopard 2 during the Leopard 2AV development and after the US testing was completed. For the series version, the Hughes-designed laser rangefinder made with US common modules was chosen over the passive EMS-13 rangefinder. The EMS-13 system was considered to be the superior solution, but the Hughes system was cheaper and fully developed. 37. The German company Krupp Atlas Electronic acquired the license of the Hughes design and modified it to meet the needs of the German Army. 37. The modified rangefinder received the designation EMS-15. The installation of the US AGT-1500 turbine engine in the Leopard 2 was tested by Mark A. 30. The AGT-1500 was from the United States and required deep modifications to the Leopard 2's chassis. However, driving tests at the WTD-41 revealed a number of drawbacks such as high fuel consumption and the poor performance of the transmission, including the brakes. 30. This project was thus terminated. In January 1977, Germany ordered a small pre-series of 3 hulls and 2 turrets which were delivered in 1978. These vehicles had increased armor protection on the front of the hull. One of the hulls was fitted with the earlier T-21 turret and was used by the German Army School in Munster for troop trials until 1979. 38. In September 1977, 1,800 Leopard 2 tanks were ordered, to be produced in 5 batches. The main contractor was Krauss Mafia, but Maschinenbau KIEL, Mark A, was awarded a contract for producing 45% of the tanks. The first batch consisted of 380 tanks. The delivery of 6 tanks was scheduled for 1979,114 1980, 184 1981, and 300 tanks each following year. 39. The first series production tank was delivered on the 25th of October, 1979. By 1982, all of the first batch of 380 Leopard 2 tanks had been completed. 209 were built by Krauss Mafia, chassis no 10,001 to 10,210, and 171 by Mark A, chassis no 20,001 to 20,172. The first production tanks were fitted with the PZB-200 image intensifier due to production shortages of the new thermal night sight system, which was later retrofitted to earlier models.